Hello and welcome to a brand new season of GT7 on Aero League Racing. This is season 8 of our Gran Turismo League, and it is the first time that we have 5 tiers, and that's what we're commentating on today. My name is Ross Thom, I'm a tier 2 driver, but we have a field full of very skilled drivers at tier 5 who will be all looking for their very first race win because none of them have won a race so far. So let's go through the grid very quickly. Let me just go into the settings so we can see what kind of cars they're driving as well. So we got Lil Sheepy starting on pole position in the Jag, followed by Gin Tonics in the Nismo, the 2013 version. We got T Smithy in the 2018 version of the Nismo, and Reese rounding out the top 4 again in the Jag. So all Nissans and Jags in the top 4. All but Jin have raced in ALR before, and Jin is making his debut. And then we got Trems in the Supra, making the switch from F1 over to GT. He's a race winner in F1, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do. D-Dubs in the Vantage V12, which is a very fast car. Danger is in the WRX Subaru, which again is a fast car as well. He expected big things from him. He used to race in Tier 1 in the F1 leagues. Millsy is in 8th place in the Nismo. Stuart in the AMG Mercedes is in 9th place. He's making his debut, as well as Peter, who I think is called Pex in Discord, who is starting in 10th again in the Nismo, the 13 version. ALR legend Quackhouse is in the V12 Aston Martin Vantage, starting in P11, which is a pretty good result for Quackhouse in qualifying. And JP in the Supra is starting in 12th. And then we got another couple of newcomers, Marvel in 13th in the DBR9. Darvith in 14th in the AMG Mercedes, and rounding out the grid is Mr. Berserk, who is in the DBR9 as well, who's dropped down from Tier 2. Not sure what happened to him in qualifying, but I'm expecting big things from him in the race. So, without further ado, let's get this first race started, because I've talked enough. And lights out and away we go, and it looks like Lil Sheepy got a great start, and it was a really bad start actually for Gin Tonics, who looks like he's going to get swamped by, oh, what a terrible angle, Reese Foot, but he does, T Smithy, goes into the wall, as does Gin Tonic, so it looks like Trems is up into second, and Lil Sheepy is running away with it already here. Trems being challenged by D-Dubs, as we got another car going off the track there. It looked like it was a dark coloured car. I can't remember exactly what that was, but we're all settled down as we go on to the first kind of straight here, and it looks like the Vantage is going to be challenging Trems as we head down, with Reese in the Jag holding off Smithy as well. Is a move going to get done here? Not by these guys, and Reese looks like he's holding on to P4, Smithy P5, dropped down a few places, and Danger solidly in 6th. Pex has moved up to 7th, and Jin, after that terrible start, it looks like he got a bit of a false start penalty, all the way down in 8th. And Quackhouse in the top 10 in his Marlborough themed Vantage. Very nice little livery he's got going on there. Berserk's already up into P11 as well. So let's rejoin the front and see what Smithy's up to. So he's already got a huge lead, as you can see on the minimap there, ahead of Trems, who's started to pull away a little bit from D-Dubs. Reese Foot looks like he's actually closing the gap a little bit to D-Dubs as well. But very good start for this top 4, as Danger goes a little bit wide on the exit, and it looks like Smithy might have a little sniff down as we go through the second fast section, as it looks like Smithy and Gin Tonics are also battling just behind them as well. But it looks like Danger does have 5th place ahead of Smithy. Smithy is having a look around the inside, pushes Danger off the track a little bit, gets a little bit sideways, and that allows Danger to retake the position as we head around the final turn onto the pit straight. And the first lap of 8 is finished. It looks like Trems is going to come under a bit of challenge from D-Dubs, who backs out of it heading into the corner, but Reese Foot looks like he's trying to take advantage of that bit of hesitation from D-Dubs, and he pushes him wide. Oh, he won't be happy with that. That was a bit of a dodgy move from Reese Foot, and now D-Dubs is all the way down to 5th, with Danger taking advantage of that as well. But Reese has spun, and maybe some would say that's karma. But he's all the way down to 8th now, which actually puts D-Dubs back into 4th, so he's only lost 1 position and a little bit of time out of that. He does have a queue of cars behind him, though, as Gin Tonics is already recovered from 8th all the way up to 5th in all the carnage, and now he's going to try and overtake on D-Dubs, who was a little bit sideways coming out of that really difficult corner to take, and Jin has that position. Next up will be Pex, who will, in his Sprite livery, very nice livery, try to put some pressure on D-Dubs, unless D-Dubs can get a move back on Gin Tonics in this fast section. It's all dependent on whether you can keep your foot on the gas, basically, as to whether you get the move done, as it looks like Peter's coming under pressure from T Smithy now. T Smithy has the inside line, so I expect him to be able to win this little battle here. Little bit of contact again, but the move gets done. And JP, oh, looks like Reese went off the track again, so he's gone from 2nd all the way down to 10th in this lap, and Berserk is just cruising through the field, and he's up into 9th place already, up 6 places in less than 2 laps. Peter putting some pressure on T Smithy now through this last little section of the lap, but he gets a bit sideways there, as Lil Sheepy has an absolutely huge lead going into lap 3. Let's join Danger. Is he going to get a little run on Trems? Trems has a very good straight line speed on this in this Supra, so I don't think it'll be too easy to overtake him as we look down the field to see everyone's kind of line astern at the moment. Everyone's taking these turns. Peter's kind of dropped back from T Smithy a little bit now as the race has settled down a little bit, and JP is comfortably in 8th. Let's join Sheepy at the front here. So this is some insane driving from Sheepy, but bear in mind he is on the soft tires, so this Jag is okay on tires. It's not the best car. What the strategy is here basically is that you'll get 5 really good laps on the softs to build up a solid lead, which he already has done massively here. But the last 2 laps, the tires will be all red, and it really depends on how good you are driving on dead tires as to how much time you're going to lose. But I imagine him, Sheepy will probably be setting times around about the 2-minute mark. He's got a 56.2 here. He'll probably be around the 2-minute mark, so Trems and Danger and the rest will have a lot of work to do to try and catch up to him in those last 2 laps, because they've really let him get away here. Excuse me. Let's just have a quick look down here. It looks like everyone else, apart from Reese, who is going to have a terrible end to the race, is on mediums. Reese is on softs, and he's stuck behind Mr. Berserk, and he's not been afforded the opportunity to kind of build a lead like his teammate has, and as a result he will probably get caught by the cars behind him. Millsy, Quackhouse, Marvel, David is on hards for some reason. That is not the right strategy. I wouldn't be doing that. That's probably why he's in 14th right now, and Stuart is on mediums. So yeah, everyone but the Jags are on mediums apart from David. And the only one it's really working out for is Sheepy, as Trems is still holding off Denge. I'm not sure if Denge just can't get past him, or if this is his pace. Oh, that's a bit naughty from Denge there. Hopefully he lets him back through, because that wasn't a good move to see. That was definitely a mistake on Denge's part. No, he hasn't let it back through, so it'll be interesting to see if he's been reported for that. So, Denge is now in kind of pole position for the win if something goes wrong with Sheepy's tyres towards the end and he just can't keep it on the track. Trems is still driving very solidly. Bear in mind, this is Trems is the highest placed debutant in GT7 ALR, and Gin Tonics, who was the highest qualifying debutant, has managed to recover all the way to 4th after dropping to 8th on the opening lap after a terrible start with his Bombay Sapphire and Schweppes livery. But he's probably going to have a hard time overtaking Trems as well, who's got that good straight line speed. But Trems goes really wide, and he just hands the place to Jin right there. The name and the livery combo is quite clever, actually. So, Trems manages to keep third place, which is pretty decent driving from him, but he's going to come under much more pressure from Jin for the remainder, and it looks like it might actually happen before, as they get a little bit of contact. Not the cleanest racing we've seen, but we don't mind a bit of argy-bargy in ALR, especially because these cars can take the damage. Not like in F1 where a little touch ruins your whole race. See, so that is a good example of the straight line speed on show on the GR Supra. He would have normally been beaten, but the Nismo doesn't have the best straight line speed, and the Supra really does, and that is why Trems, even though Jin is putting so much pressure on him and getting moves done, Trems manages to retake the position. And Denger's kind of far and away, so even if Denge does get a penalty, as long as he can keep this, keep increasing the gap, he'll still have P2, to be honest. And that's how much time he was losing behind Trems. So Trems has a bit of a pace issue going on here, which means that he might struggle in a feature race, because he's going to have to overtake cars, not defend. Just a reminder that whatever the finishing position of this grid is, it will be reversed for the 40-minute feature race. So who is currently on pole? That's David on his hard tyres. He's struggling quite a lot right now, and he will start on pole position if he can't improve his times. But those hards should be a little bit better towards the end of the race, but he's not even inside the 2 minutes, so really struggling there. Stewart's struggling as well in the AMG, both of them in AMGs, I think. Yeah, it's a fast car as well, so they shouldn't be struggling as much as they are. Quackhouse in the Vantage, still chugging along nicely, trying to hunt down Millsy here. Goes a bit wide there, which doesn't help his cause. DBX Marvel, it's his first ever race in ALR, and he's trying to chase down Reese Foot. This is around the crossover point for when the mediums start becoming a little bit better than the soft, so I would expect him to potentially get a top 10 finishing position, and 10th place does get you 1 point in the sprint race because only the top 10 drivers get points here. So that, you know, a point on your debut is quite an important thing to do to mark your debut in the league, I think. D-Dubs is firmly behind Mr. Berserk now, who is actually challenging JP here. I imagine he'll get the move done sooner rather than later in his DBR9, which is ironically the car that JP really wanted to drive, but JP's in the Toyota instead, which is a very good car, which Trems is driving pretty successfully right now, but Berserk just breezes past him, to be honest. Then let's have a look. So Pex is pretty much on his own, which will suit him down to the ground because he can just focus on his pace and capitalize on any mistakes people make. And Smithy, Gin Tonics and Trems are in a bit of a train here. Trems is still defending incredibly well, but this is going to be very difficult for him for these last couple of laps. He goes a bit wide there, hands the position. Oh, and he gets span. Is it a race against it? He has a bit of contact with Jin, and then he's still falling back. He's going to drop all the way to 8th. What a shame. He was driving so well, and now he's behind his teammate as well. And he's got front damage from hitting the wall as well for the next few corners at least. So that means that the last battle for the podium is between Jin and Smithy. I'll be interested to see if that ends up in the steward's room as well, because there was a bit of contact and then a bit more contact between all three of them. It could be a race against it. I'd have to look at it again. But yeah, now Jin and Smithy have a bit of time to put the foot down, and they're not being held up by Trems anymore. So they'll probably be able to build a bit, well, even more of a gap over Pex, but it'll be interesting to see if they can catch Danger, who isn't too far ahead. So he's approaching turn 3 right there, or 4. 4. And this is Jin just reaching turn 4 now, so he's got 2 laps to maybe catch up by 4 seconds. I would guess that's 4 seconds. It's not impossible, but we're on lap 7 now. So Sheepy, yeah, look at Sheepy's tires. They are completely red on the front and almost red on the rear. But he does have an absolutely massive lead. He's finished the fast section just as Dench enters the fast section. The same probably can't be said to Reese, who has dropped all the way down from 10th to 12th now, as Millsy and DBX Marvel have overtaken him. His tyres are a bit better than Sheepy's though. He's still got a little bit of life in them, but they will be completely red before long. Quackhouse is solidly in 13th, and Davith is quite away in the distance. But yeah, let's just rejoin Sheepy for a little bit, because he's driven exceptionally well. He's on course for his maiden win here in the Jag, which is a great car around here especially. He's raced with us for, I think this is his 4th season in ALR, and unfortunately never won a victory, but looks like he's finally chosen a car that suits him well, and as he struggles around the final corner, as you would expect with tyres this dead. But to be honest, he just needs to nurse the car home at this point, because Dench is way too far back. Dench also has a half-second penalty, which isn't going to help his cause, but it might help Jin if he can close the gap a little bit more. He's probably a little bit too far away now. But it looks like Pex is about to come under pressure from Berserk, who is making his way through the field very nicely. Brakes late. He does have the outside into this corner though, and he thinks better of it and pulls out. Pex covers and kind of blocks him from trying to dive and getting the switch back, which is very good defensive driving there. And Berserk will have to try something different. Much better exit from Berserk there. Just like when he overtook JP, it was this exact moment. Pushes Pex wide a little bit to get the move done and compromise Pex's corner, and that's how you do it. That's how you get a good overtake done. So Berserk up 10 places now from last place to 5th. What's going on with JP? He's still solidly ahead of Trems, so after Trems' accident, and now that his damage is better, they do have identical tyre wear, and JP is just maintaining that lead pretty well. D-Dubs looks like he's solidly in 9th place, not going to get caught, but DBX Marvel might have a bit of a challenge if Reese can... Well, Reese is pretty close to him, and Millsy has fallen behind both of them now, so he must have had a little trip off the circuit, and DBX must have had a little mistake as well. So still a kind of battle for the last point, but the main battle looks to be, well, not with Pex. He's got a 1 second penalty, so he's not going to be challenging Berserk anymore. But we're on the final lap. Lil Sheepy is about to take the checkered flag, and he does set a couple of laps outside the 2-minute mark, but it was more than enough. Denj is going to take 2nd place quite comfortably. Gin Tonics does hold off T Smithy to get a podium on his debut in ALR. T Smithy in 4th place after getting well, he should be pretty pleased with 4th actually, that's good. Mr. Berserk from last to 5th, and Pex does get 6th with his 2nd penalty. Despite that 2nd penalty, JP does finish 7th, and Trems, after getting punted, unfortunately loses out on a podium but gets P8. 9th place for D-Dubs in his Vantage, very good opening race for him, and DBX Marvel will cross the line to get the final point. Reese Foot in 11th on his dead soft tyres. Millsy, after a bit of a mistake, is going to be a distant 12th. Looks like Stuart and Quackhouse are battling around the final corner. Stuart might have gotten Quackhouse. Yeah, Quackhouse gets 14th, and Davith will get the pole position for the endurance race, the 40-minute race, which is coming up after this, as a consolation prize for probably choosing the wrong tyre strategy. So big congrats to Lil Sheepy, he'll be absolutely buzzing with his maiden win. Join me on the next video. I'm going to post this one separately because that's the only way that I can do it because of the length of these videos, to watch the feature race. Thanks for tuning in.